Why do you think you can't breed the dog under this contract?
Because it says the dog is being sold as a companion pet only and cannot be bred.
I don't mean nothing.
No.
You want
read it?
Read it. Pet quality is as a puppy that is being sold only as a companion. Any breeding or showing does not apply. Blah, blah, blah. The buyer must take to the vet upon examination.
They don't say nothing
Yeah,
about
but you skipped the most important sentence. In other words, the dog is being sold as a pet only.
Right.
If you should decide to breed it, comma, that is your choice.
What about when it says pet quality is defined
Exactly.
as being only sold as a companion?
Yeah, that's the quality of the pet. That's why you're paying $2,000. Because it's only being sold with a guarantee as a pet, right? And that's why you got the dog at 1/10 of the price. Second question, you said in your response, the original breeder was willing to give us a release so that we could continue the process of registration and breed the dog. How have you been damaged?
So I broke up with my boyfriend and he had all the contact information and we were supposed to go July 15th. So I don't have the information to get a hold of her. I don't know how to further go with that, but I'm trying to figure it out. You feel me?
No, I don't. I don't feel you.
Okay, so
You feel me?
someone else did all the tracking down of the original breeder and spoke to the original breeder and made the
And you have
agreement.
none of that information.
don't.
I got that.
Yep.
But the original breeder was willing to do you a freebie.
Take the money, not free. No, no, no.
So you would have had to pay and you didn't tell us that? How much would you have had to pay?
$1,000.
Why
And she
is
was
the-
going to give me a receipt for $1,500 paid.
So you were going to get away with a $20,000 dog for $4,000?
It's not $20,000.
Okay,
Says
I'm
what?
done. I'm done.
Why was he paying $2,500?
Ma'am, with respect to your cross complaint, there really is no evidence
That he made the allegation?
that he made the allegation, so you can't prove that. I believe that we could give the plaintiff back the dog.
Thank you.
Why would you
Provided
dog if
reasons.
that's
It's my dog.
what
Or,
the case
or
money?
we might consider whether or not to give him the value of the dog.
I'm willing to pay her the $400 back
What about the car?
for the idea she said she gave me for my dog. I want my dog. I really
Yeah, I
pay her
understand
$400.
that. I understand
I
that.
have a question.
Yeah.
He never said anything about wanting the dog back in the case, so it was all about money.
Well,
Can you
here
change
is the
that?
problem. He never asked or filed a cause of action or framed it that I want the dog back. But in his complaint, that's what he says.
Yeah.
We'll have to decide what we're going to do. But I have no further questions. Either of you have any questions? All right, you're excused while we deliberate in this matter.
We have deliberated and we did not agree. So when that happens in this court, majority rules. So first of all, we did agree on the defendant's counterclaim. Your counterclaim is dismissed, ma'am. We saw no proof of defamation, no proof of damages from defamation even, had there been any, and no proof that you were in any way damaged by what you call an illegal contract. We're not saying it was an illegal contract, but no proof of damages. So the counterclaim is dismissed. Mr. Waters, your original complaint sought monetary compensation as opposed to a return of the dog. And for notice and due process purposes, we're bound by that. So even though you have said you would prefer the dog back, which we understand, it wasn't in your complaint, defendant wasn't put on notice, that was your original claim, and so we cannot change the nature of your claim. And while we had a lot of issues with how this transaction took place, you weren't paid for the deal. We all agreed you should receive some compensation, but we disagreed on how much. So the majority of the court was Judge Tuwelde and I, who believed that you should receive $1,200, which is the cash amount, plus the value of the right to pick from the first litter, because we don't believe she's going to give you the first of the litter after all this has happened. So we're going to put that at $2,500 as you have, because there seems to be plenty of proof that this puppy could be worth that. So we add the $1,200 and the $2,500, and we come up with $3,700 that you're entitled to.
Thank you.
Had it been Judge Corriero's decision, he still felt you were entitled to some compensation. He would have given you the $1,200 cash, and he would have found that you were not entitled to anything for the first pick of the litter because it's speculative. But he would have found that the car you received ultimately ended up being valueless to you, and therefore it doesn't count against the $1,000 in cash. So had it been his ruling, you would have received $2,200. But in this court, majority rules, and so for that reason, the defendant's counterclaim is dismissed, and the verdict of the court is in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of $3,700.